As big of a Jalen Hurts fan as I am, Cam Newton is correct about Jalen Hurts. It looks good on my end of my agendas and narratives that Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, has had the success he's had. Finally seeing a brother get supported and the team around him. I love seeing it because generally they don't get a black quarterback's nothing. But anyway, my point is this, y'all. Cam Newton on his show came out and said Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback. At first I was like, that's a little tough. But the more and more I thought about it, doing my own list, I gotta say I agree with him. And I think the first thing we need to establish here when we're gonna have this discussion, people like, well, but Jalen Hurts was an MVP runner-up, second team All-Pro 2022, led them to Super Bowl in 2022. The problem with this is Jalen Hurts, simply put, is not the same player he was in 2022. Jalen Hurts, by every standard, you can ask the Eagles fans. I'm tapped into Eagles fans. I listen to Philly radio. I'm a part of the Eagles subreddits, all that. Throughout the year, I search everything. Jalen Hurts is not the same athlete that he was in 2022. He's not as fast. He's not as explosive. He's not as agile. His rushing has not been as good. Right? That has translated. From there, that has also translated into him versus pressure this year. I don't know if y'all know it or not. Jalen Hurts was one of the worst quarterbacks versus pressure in 2024. He was down there with like Will Levis and them versus pressure. If I got the screen grab, I posted. Versus pressure, bruh, Hurts was really bad. Because his athleticism is dropped. He's scrambling less. Once pressure comes, it's not good. And Eagles fans have admitted that the whole season. Secondly, a point about 2022. 2022, he was super, super efficient from the pocket. Not saying his numbers won't look okay and efficient from the pocket. Because when he does throw, it's typically high percentage to the outsides to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, out slants. Defenses are playing Saquon. But the main thing is, y'all, this year, if we really go off this year alone, and really last year, I tried to take everything in a 2-year sample, right? Jalen Hurts, simply put, was not playing good quarterback. It's no easier way to say it than just look at what A.J. Brown said. This year, top 5 quarterbacks don't have their receivers coming out talking about them, especially the passing game needing to get better. You never heard them conversations back in the day with Peyton, Drew, Brady, Rodgers, Big Ben. Their receivers didn't come out and say that. That was the top 5 for most of, the 2010s and whatnot. You didn't hear that. Now you don't hear Lamar. You don't hear Allen, Burrow, Mahomes. Yeah, throw Stafford, Jaden Daniels. You don't hear their receivers coming out talking like that. The Eagles had a 42% run rate. No, 42% pass rate. They threw the ball at the lowest rate by far in the league. By far. They had a 64% run rate in the second half of games because they had to lead a lot, which is fair. But if you're throwing the least in the NFL, second halves, the running back is taking over even more so than the overall performance. You're being asked to do less than everybody. When Jalen Hurts is asked to pass, he's not asked to pass over the middle of the field. He's not asked to throw a lot during games. If he's throwing it, it's generally one-on-one. You're throwing to a top 2 wide receiver duo in the league. I talk about when he was pressured. Well, guess what? You're not pressured that much because you have the best O-line in the league. And that's going on the past 3-4 years. You have the best O-line in football. At least the past since 2022. 3 All-Pros on the O-line. Maybe 4 like Pro Bowlers, bro. And it's like, to me, how can I say Jalen Hurts is top 5, top 10? Because, people say, bro, we're trying to cut down Jalen Hurts. We're not trying to cut down Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts in his game, what he stands for, black love, all his success. But what we've always done, to be fair, Brock Purdy. Nobody is putting Brock Purdy top 5. Nobody's really putting Brock Purdy top 10. Even last year when Brock Purdy was 4th in MVP voting. Why? He's a system quarterback. He got Shanahan. He got CMC. He got that O-line. He got Ayuk and Debo and Kittle. He got the defense. That's what we said. When they talked about Jared Goff with McVay. Well, Jared Goff got McVay. He got Gurley. He got Cooper Kupp. He got Robert Woods. He got Brandon Cooks. He got a good O-line. He got Wade Phillips and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on defense. Now, Jared Goff now, right? Do you want to give Jared Goff more credit because he's done it in 2 places? Maybe so, even though he still has a great supporting cast. We're going to give him that feather in his cap because he's done it in multiple spots? Maybe so. Maybe that makes him top 10 now. But even then, people still don't want to give Goff his credit. Amon-Ra, Jameson, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery. Great O-line. They had a good defense until the defense got hit with injury bug. But, I mean, these guys that have help, we generally don't give them the full credit. To be fair. That can't change because of Jalen Hurts now. And I love the brother, but even 2022 we look at. He was playing MVP level ball. Yes, he was. You still had AJ. You still had Devontae Smith. You still had the top O-line. That was before Jason Kelsey retired. Still had the best O-line. Even despite not having Saquon, you still had Miles Sanders that was 4th in rushing yards in the league. The Eagles were top 3 rushing team combined between Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. And you still had the best defense in the NFL with the number 1 pass rush in the NFL. So it's like, and on top of that, y'all, how was that Philly run to the Super Bowl? They dominated. They got to the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy got hurt. Every 49ers quarterback got hurt. These are things that people are taking into account when they're ranking Jalen Hurts, man. And it's not hate, bro. Because you look at it, right? I hear people say, well, how come y'all don't hold it against Burrow because he got receivers? Well, guess what? Burrow does have the best receiver duo, in my opinion. But Hurts has the second best receiver duo, in my opinion. So that's a wash. Burrow has a bottom 5 O-line. Hurts has the best O-line. Burrow's run game ranked 5th in rushing yards. Though I like Chase Brown, I think he's going to be a good running back. He is not Saquon Barkley. And even if he does good this year, he doesn't have the ceiling of Saquon Barkley. Nor will they rely on him as much as they relied on Saquon Barkley in Philly. Then the next side of the ball, on the Burrow comparison, Hurts has the best defense. Burrow has a bottom 5 defense. You know, Joe Burrow lost 5 games last year, though his offense put up over 33 points. Let that sink in. You're putting up over 33 points and you lost 5 games because the defense gave up more points than that. That's what quarterbacks, bona fide top 5 quarterbacks, are being asked to do. We win, lose, live or die on your arm. That's it. Behind a bad O-line, no run game. You got some receivers. Hey, T, he may miss some time. Then at what? You only got Jamar. And the play calling ain't that good. But then not only that though, look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen has a top 5 O-line. Yes, he got Dalvin Cook. Yes, good running back, top 10 running back. He not Saquon. Who is he throwing to? And then on the other side of the ball, the Bills have a top 10 defense, I say. But they're not number 1, though. The Ravens. And I think Lamar Jackson is the most polarizing example talking about Jalen Hurts not being top 10 is because this, guys. Lamar Jackson, y'all know Derrick Henry rushed for 1,900 yards last year in 17 games. Saquon did 2,016 games. So how does Lamar Jackson still have an elite running back, the second best, if not the third best, however you like Gibbs up in there? I think Gibbs is number 2, Henry 3. But guess what? Henry, despite how great he was, Lamar Jackson, and everybody knew Lamar Jackson was still the guy on that offense. It wasn't a question. He was the best player on the offense. Because Lamar is that great. Hurts, you got Saquon. After the Eagles, the damn Ravens ran the most. But how does Lamar Jackson still go for 4,100 yards, 41 touchdowns in the air? 900 yards rushing. But Hurts goes for 2,900 passing yards and 18 touchdowns. He did miss 2 games, and he also got, I think he got hurt like in the middle of one game last year. So it's really about 14 and a half games he played. 2,900 yards, y'all. So if we extrapolate, they probably would have had around 3,400 yards on the season. You're just not being asked to do as much as other Jalen Hurts, because you don't have to do as much as others Jalen Hurts. Now you say, well, okay, well, the top 3 you just named, we get that, throw Mahomes in there. Jaden Daniels had a way better season. And Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. And I'm not going to even argue that. You come in on a team that was the number 2 overall pick in the draft, the second worst team in football in 2023. You drop Jaden Daniels in there, new coaching staff, new front office. They're in the NFC Championship game. That's not an argument I'm going to have. I got CJ Stroud. Again, guess what? Texans, 2022. Second worst team in football. Second overall pick. New coaching staff. Add CJ Stroud in there. We won back-to-back playoff games. Back-to-back years. Despite us having O-line injuries. Receiver injuries. Defense not being as good. Improving. But our injuries hit us real bad. So people say Stroud struggled. He was having ups and downs because the O-line was banged up and our receivers kept getting hurt. But he still pulled out. If it were not for the refs, we probably would have beat KC, made it to the AFC Championship game. That's impact. That's top 10. Stafford. If it wasn't snowing, the Rams beat the Eagles. He easily outplayed Hurts head to head, but it's not just about him outplaying them, right? Stafford. He carries that offense. That's the point, y'all. Jalen Hurts. To put a bow on all of this, y'all, on every conversation, we look at NBA and how much you win in NBA and how much credit you get. The first option gets the credit for the ring. Being second option, just like how Kobe was to Shaq, you don't get that same acclaim. Jalen Hurts is not the best player on his own offense. Not just that, Jalen Hurts is not the best back in his own offense. That's Saquon. Not only that, Jalen Hurts is not a top 2 skill player on his offense. That's Saquon and AJ. Not only that, Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 player on his offense. And that's Saquon, AJ Brown, Lane Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and I said Lane Dickerson. No. Jordan Mailata, Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. That's the 5 best players on that offense, bro. Then you still got Devontae Smith. What he around? Top 15 receiver-ish, I say. So whether you're talking about, like I got his name, Burrow, Lamar, Allen, Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Stroud, Stafford, and then you get to the other ones. Baker Mayfield been cooking, yo. I mean, who else we want to say in there? Herbert. I've been super critical of Herbert. He has to play better in the playoffs. He has to. But even then, y'all, do the Chargers get better if they have Jalen Hurts behind center? Do the Eagles get better if they get Justin Herbert? He's being asked to do less, and when he's asked to throw, the throwing ability is way up here. I even got to the point like, well, damn, Jared Goff, right? We talked about Goff. He got help. The Eagles gonna have an elite run game with or without Jalen Hurts. And look at the Lions. The Lions had an elite run game. But at the end of the day, the Detroit Lions live and die by what Jared Goff does. And they died in the playoffs versus the Commanders. They still put up over 30-some points. But guess what? His 3 picks hurt. But he had to do that. He had to carry that load because their defense was injured. Hurts don't have to carry no load like that. And he still put up 30. And you still can have a high-powered offense with Amon-Ra, Jameson, Laporta, Gibbs, because Jared Goff can feed everybody. And they still got a solid run game. They got a great run game. Let me not undersell it. They got a great run game. But now the Eagles, in essence, are handcuffed where either we got to play lights out defense, we got to run the ball a lot. And if that doesn't work, then we get to the Jalen Hurts throwing 50-50 balls to A.J. Brown. That's another part of it, y'all. People got eyes. People watched the whole season. People saw when Hurts did throw, it was go balls, go balls. He don't attack the middle of the field. The throwing ability, while he has improved, while I love his improvement, it's not with Goff, Stafford, Herbert, Stroud, Jaden, let alone the top four. So people are having these discussions. I think Dak is a fraud in the playoffs. I think Dak has had some very good teams. But if you ask Dak to only throw the ball for less than 3,000 yards in a season, do the Cowboys win? No, they don't. Dak frauds out in the playoffs, but guess what? It's on him, living and dying by Dak's arm. The Eagles don't live and die by Jalen Hurts. That's all it is at the end of the day. Kyler Murray. You give Kyler Murray a team like the Eagles, what does he do? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to start having these honest conversations. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champion, yes. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP, yes. Jalen Hurts exceeded all expectations people had on him. I believed in that brother, and I'm happy he got his money. He gonna stay rich. He has a freaking awesome life. But Jalen Hurts will tell you, he ain't play good enough last year. And if he plays that like that again, Eagles gonna have a hard time. It was unacceptable how he played. He'll tell you that. His own receivers told you that. Top 5, top 10 quarterbacks don't have their receivers coming out talking against them. If you have them back in the top 10, I get it. But just pure quarterback play, I can't really make that argument for Jalen Hurts right now. I really can't. But let me know what y'all think of the video, man. It all comes back to the ability. People see the running has diminished. People see all the weapons. People see how bad he played all year in the back end of 2023. When he was asked to carry the team in his arm, he threw over 500 times and the Eagles were struggling. They had some injuries, yes. But when it ain't perfect, that's what they're saying. When it ain't perfect, how he looked. It was perfect this year and he still was looking rough most of the time. A good Super Bowl performance in the NFC Championship game doesn't cover up a whole season of work. So, like, comment, subscribe, y'all. It's still all love to Jalen Hurts. The brother gonna bounce back, but I'm not finna sit up here and have him put in places that he didn't earn. You know what I'm saying? People say, I heard Dan Orlovsky say you gotta go through Jalen Hurts. No, you go through the Philadelphia Eagles. It ain't Hurts alone. When you pull up, play the Eagles offense, you're trying to stop Saquon first. That's the first option. Secondly, you're trying to stop A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's what it is, man. So, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. I still all love the Hurts. But let's not lie. Let's not tell lies for the brothers now. We're going to keep it 100. We're going to keep it real always, even for our favorites. Appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, we say shalom.